What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Alex G alongside Malin. This is the A Couple of Things podcast where we are here to talk about a couple of things. Let's go right ahead. Get us started.
Hold up. All right, I only have one topic, which is bad, but I just feel like a lot of it didn't really happen this week, or maybe I just didn't notice. I just forgot. But obviously, one of the things that was going around was LeBron's, for anybody who doesn't know, obviously LeBron James, his son, Bronny, who a lot of people know because they think he's like going to be his prodigy or protege, whatever the word is. Yeah, he's going to be, the next basketball player from the family. But he had his prom, and his prom date was a white girl. So obviously, I already knew it was coming. When I saw the picture on the timeline, I knew it was coming. People were going to be upset about it. And I just feel like I could say how I feel about this is a deep topic, because it's like, for one, of course, the history in our country and history of our people. So, not all white people are racist, of course. Not all of them are who they are, but it is kind of a crazy thing. But then again, it's like, all right, that's what civil rights was for, to fight for things like that. But it's just like, how I feel. Like, I'm all pro Black love, especially, pro marry or date within even your, I go as far as even dating within your ethnic group, because, not all Black people are Black Americans. So, because it's just so much easier to connect with people. Like, yeah, you can connect with people when you're Black, but it's a deeper connection when you have the same ethnic background, the same culture. So I'm just all about that compatibility. Like, I'm not against interracial couples. I'm not against any type of couples. But I just feel like there is like a deep connection that you can't get anywhere else besides within your ethnic group when you have similar experiences and all that. But at the end of the day, him and his day doesn't affect me the same way gay people don't affect me. That's why I say let them do them. As long as it's not affecting me and my day to day, I don't care. And I feel like people care too much on the internet. And also, I feel like a lot of people forget that Bronny and LeBron, I think they live in Beverly Hills, but he goes to school in at Sierra Canyon, which I think is in Calabasas or Hidden Hills, that area. That's like a popular school that a lot of rich and famous go to, and their kids, like Kardashian kids go there. Drake, I think did Drake's son go there? Well, he might be too young. And he'd be back and forth between Europe and here, so I'm not sure. But, that was like the huge thing with Kanye and his argument about Sierra Canyon and not wanting his kids to go there and all that. In that school, I did my research, it's like 70% white, So it was like, what do people expect? Like, I went to a predominantly white school. There was so many interracial couples. People who were true to them, who just loved Black girls. Like, there was a lot of guys I knew who just liked Black girls and didn't mess with white girls. There was me, like, okay, yeah, I had one kiss with this white guy, but, he acted Black. Not saying that's an excuse, but it's like, that wasn't someone who I was going to date. That was just a thing. But I understand the woes of going to a predominantly white school. And if that's your environment, that's your environment. Like, if he's raised around the rich and the famous and around other, predominantly white people, that might be the path that he goes down. And it's like, is it Bronny's fault or is it Savannah and LeBron's fault? Like, LeBron, is he from the hood? Him and Savannah?
LeBron, yeah.
Yeah, and Savannah is, I'm assuming, too, because they met at school.
I'm not sure.
Maybe. So obviously, where they come from, they want their kids to grow up in a nice area. Of course, that's what you work so hard for, right? But what comes with that is that possibility. Unless it's so taught in the household, but I'm sure it was. I'm sure, but that's who he is. That's who he's surrounded by. And where you grow up and where you go to school is going to be a big impact. And who knows, maybe once he's out in the world, beyond high school, things will change. No one's saying this is his wife. No one's saying this is who he's going to spend the rest of his life with. And like I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't affect me. Why everybody so up in arms? Like, there's too many think pieces on it. I'm like, it doesn't affect my day to day. I still believe in Black love, and I'm in a relationship with a Black man. So how is it? It's not affecting me,
Yeah.
So from a man's perspective, how do you feel? Because I know your school. What was your school's demographics? It was a lot of Black, right? Definitely higher than my school. A lot higher. I think yours was pretty mixed.
Yeah.
Pretty even, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was your experience in high school? Like with the black guys? Did a lot of them date white girls?
Oh,
No, you. Okay. I'm saying like what were
just making sure you click.
what were like your friends or just other black guys? Like who were they really interacting with the most?
Their own ethnic groups.
So usually, like African people were other African people, or
Yeah.
just black on black.
Yeah,
You know?
usually. But I don't know. Like I think part of you know how kind of like the same way that the media we in ourselves in the black community, we perpetuate our own stereotypes and reinforce stereotypes that about ourselves that aren't even necessarily true. And one of the biggest one obviously is that there aren't really fathers present in the household, or that there's mostly single parent households in the black community, which is actually false, like completely. But we still will perpetuate it
Yeah, right.
either because we feel that way, or we just take what the media says and then believes it to be true. But actually, statistically, that's not the case.
It's not. Like literally everybody I know has their dad in their life, whether they're married to the mom or not.
And I think the
Every
same.
single person.
I think the same thing applies to, I mean, I don't have the statistics because, you know, I did try to look it up, not related to this topic, but this comes up all the time. And more often than not, I think it's just one of those shock value things. Like you see a black man athlete, I wouldn't say Bronny's successful yet, but he could potentially be successful.
And that's that stigma.
And then
The black athlete, white woman combo.
right. And I think that that's always such a shock for people to see. And I think it bothers people. But
Yeah, it's probably triggering in a way because we do see it a lot amongst. But remember, I think we had this conversation in the podcast before that we think we see it a lot.
yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like people will. It's one of those things where you ignore all of the good and then just focus on the bad. And not saying that the interracial relationship is bad, but it's just one of those things where people pick and choose what they want to focus on. Because if, you know, because we had this conversation and you said that there was all the black athletes always go for white girls. And I'm like, wait, but what about this long list of people that I just rattled off the top of my head? Not only have they been with this black woman, but they've been with her since they were 16, 17 years old. I just think that there's so much in this society where like, there's the assumption that all black athletes go for white women, which is honestly so far from the truth. If you really look at each individual athlete, honestly, if you went straight down the line, it's really more consistent that they date within their own ethnic groups versus white women.
Like what's his name? Is Jason Tatum mixed?
Yeah.
Oh, 'cause I didn't even know he had a kid. I saw there was like a clip going around. He had a kid, so of course I went down the rabbit hole, and I was like, "Oh, that kid looks white." I was like, "What is going on?" But then I saw his baby mama was also mixed, so of course that baby's mixed.
Right.
So that's why it looks very ambiguous.
And Jason Tatum looks white, so
yeah, he does.
But
that's the thing. I'm like, all right. I'm like, look, another example. Like I honestly thought, I'm like, of course, he got him a white girl. But now I was like, oh, his girlfriend or his baby mama, I don't think they're still together, was mixed. Then she looked racially ambiguous, or she looked more black than white. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm shocked, but not, it shouldn't be like, especially when these people come from the hood usually.
And my thing is like, without trying to make it sound too vulgar, I think also there's too much, people give too much credence to men having sex with other raced women.
Yeah, as them wifing them.
Right, because that's two completely different things. Like people were getting on Kevin Samuels about him potentially being when she was like Latin or supposedly whatever.
She was Afghan.
Oh, Afghan. Okay, so
Middle Eastern. I think, I'm not sure.
Like that, for example. I don't know what their relationship was, but people put too much credence on seeing people with someone of another race, and then they try to push that whole like your ancestors feel this way and blah blah blah. And it's like, I get it, and I get we want to be hyper black love, and I'm not against that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the male mind, it's not always about like love all the time.
Yeah.
Like anybody you're with physically, and I'm not saying this about Bronny, I'm not putting that on him. I'm not going to speak on, and he's a kid anyway. Like I'm not speaking on his feelings with another kid, but in the male mind, it's not always like
this who I'm gonna have my kids with. Yeah. And
even if you're dating them.
Yeah. And even to get into like a weird thing, like I think we talked about this before, there is like this weird, like, maybe, wouldn't even know if it's really a fetish, but it's weird thing where you feel like when you get a white girl, you made it in some sense. You know, I mean, and Bronny, he's been made it. His family's rich. He grew up privileged. But I feel like it is like this stigma sometimes that comes with it. Like, oh, I got a white girl. Like, especially because it's like it was forbidden. People feel like probably, you know, they feel like a form of like power from it.
There's that. There's also like, and this is me speaking from a place that I'm not from, but from what I understand, because I like to, you know, break things down psychologically. The better I understand other people, the better I understand the world, of course. So for one is that where you feel like you made it, but that's because predominantly, statistically, black people don't, you know, live in a certain means.
Yeah.
And because
in
of
those
that,
areas.
and white people do statistically. So because of that, in those areas, you don't get any, you're not exposed to anything else except yourself. So the second you get a taste of something completely different, then you go crazy. And I really don't want to make this comparison at all, because this is going to sound horrible, but it's almost the equivalent of like, because I already know, like, you know, racist people compare black people to animals. So I don't want to do that. But I just mean in a sense, like, when you have your dog and you feed them dog food all the time, but then you give them that piece of like Popeyes or something that you're eating, then they go crazy. And that's kind of like what I feel like when, you know, black people get money, they want to go and they get this new experience. These women that would never pay attention to them.
That they would never got if they weren't who they were.
And then they start to go crazy. So it's one of those things where, you know, you only, and like we've discussed before, like with some of these blocks, like you literally don't leave your block, like, because your ops are on this block and you can't walk this way, you can't do those different things.
You don't
so
really date the people in your vicinity.
Yeah, so the second you're able to get off the block and you're exposed to a different world, like you know, I'm sure there's some people from New York that have literally never left whatever borough they're from, never traveled, you know, to Connecticut, Pennsylvania,
right
New York, and it's right there. I feel like that's consistent there. So once they get that exposure, then, you know, they feel like they're like, yeah, I made it.
That's why it makes me wonder, do you think, like, lots of times, you know, besides those, like, where somebody in Bronny's shoes who he was raised in that environment, is that really your type? Or do you feel like it's because of your environment?
Yeah, and that was the other part I was
because he might not be around a lot of black girls at all. Like,
and that's the other part I was going to say, like the opposite of that is that if you've always grown up around money, then you're the opposite. Like, you've never, not that there aren't affluent black people or middle class black people.
It's not that in Beverly Hills. Like, that neighborhood is going to be in Maryland, like Prince George's County. That's a county with money.
Yeah,
there's not that many. I don't know, in Cali where it's a lot of black affluent neighborhoods. Beverly Hills, Calabasas is all predominantly white. That's where they're at.
So it's the opposite. It's like when you're in the hood, you're surrounded by, you know, your ethnic groups, and when you're rich and you're black, you're not surrounded by your ethnic group. So you're just gonna, you know, go to whoever's there, basically.
That's why it's like a tough thing, because if you, as a parent, because, you know, that's another thing, people thought Savannah was being shady by posting that blurry picture of them, like they were in the background, and then Zuri, I think her name is, the youngest daughter, was in the front, like, and like made like this face almost like a disapproval, like so, you know, it could have been shady, right? Because, you know, as a black woman, I feel like black women are more passionate about it, because usually in the, you know, especially on Twitter, all the black men were kind of defending him, like, let him date who he wants, blah blah blah. Most of the anger was coming from black women. So do you think Savannah, being a black woman, and, you know, it's coming up that LeBron had like a white date at maybe probably a junior prom, because I know they had their infamous prom picture, him and Savannah. So do you think she has any like issues? And that's why, you know, it kind of makes me question. It's like, what is worth it more to you, to raise your kid in that black environment and cultural environment so they could be cultured, or to raise them in this rich white neighborhood where they're safe and this is their dream?
I can't tell, because I can't tell if she knew what the backlash was going to be, and she was kind of just...
She had that known a little bit. Knowing the stigma of athletes.
I just don't know if she was disapproving or if she was just like...
She thought it was a funny picture.
Or it's like because of the backlash. There's so many different things. Like, I can't tell, but I can't imagine that they wouldn't be... I don't know what the right word, maybe aware. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be aware that putting your kid in that system is what that's going to result in. Like, it would be the equivalent of sending your kid down to Alabama and like expecting them to come out with somebody that's black. Like it's just not really gonna. It's not gonna happen.
That's why, like, as you as a black person who grew up in a pretty culturally
diverse.
black area, like it was diverse,
Blessed, no, extremely diverse.
It was really diverse. But then you also had a really like strong black presence. Obviously, like so much of Jersey club and prominent club music has come out of Franklin, Somerset. You know, obviously I hit it for me one time. And I was like, everybody knows that song. That was literally your friend. Like, so clearly the culture was there. Like none of that was coming out of Petersburg. None of that was coming out of my area. Mm-hmm. So do you feel like you coming from that? Would you want your kids to have that same experience, or do you feel like if you in your household is raising them a certain way, they'll be who they are? Because think about me. I was raised in that environment, and so was Amira. Amira uses that as an excuse about how she was back then, and how she had like all white friends, and how she felt like she wasn't cultured, and didn't know club dancing until college. I was doing club dance with my friends in the basement in the high school because that was who I surrounded myself with. Like my parents are both from Brooklyn. They instilled that culture in us, and Amira kind of swayed away from it. Is that my parents' fault? Because how come me and Maya came out very culturally and black? And, you know, Amir didn't even know about AKA until I crossed. I been knew about AKA. I wanted to be an AKA since I was like 11, 12 years old. So we were in the same roof under the same cultural impact. But me and Maya are the only ones that picked up on it. And Amira kind of was more prone to being accepted by the white people in my community. So do you feel like it doesn't matter at the end of the day where you're raised if you're just not comfortable, or just if that's just not you? Like at the end of the day, it's gonna be your decision to be who you are and date who you date.
Yeah.
Right. Like I feel like no matter what environment, because you could easily say, like I could easily use that excuse. I grew up in the suburbs, that's why I can't dance. But nah, I might have been grew up in Franklin and still can't dance. That just might be me. You know, I just can't dance. I don't think it would have made a difference, right? It could have been possibly, but
well.
It could have. I would have been able to dance.
Environment does definitely impact what you're exposed
Agreed.
to, what you like, all that kind of stuff.
Because there was only so much I could get from my parents. You know, I'm still went to school with those people.
Yeah, because like to me, what I want my kids to be raised in that environment. The only reason I would say yes is because I feel like putting kids through like a public school system. I don't plan on living in Calabasas, even if I had the money for it. Just not for me. But
I'd rather be in Atlanta.
For me, I feel like the public school system, whether good or bad, you know, because there's certain parts of Jersey that have horrible school districts. Mm-hmm. For me, public school systems are like how I believe the world to be. So in my opinion, I think that putting your kid, obviously you want to put them in the best school system possible, have them learn a million different things. But me personally, I feel like it's the equivalent of when black people go to HBCUs. I feel like it doesn't prepare you for like real life.
Yeah, that is a good point too, because somebody just made that tweet the other day and they were saying how HBCUs is like, it's like a fantasy world. It's like you go there and like but some of them are like, oh, but we still deal with a lot of white people. I'm like, I doubt it. Because like of course I applied and got accepted into Howard and Hampton, and you know I was my top two choices was Montclair, where I ended up going, and Howard. So I was juggling back and forth. Like I was thinking, I'm like, Howard would be a great experience. Like I would love it. But it's like you said, it's like the PWI prepared me for corporate. There's 3 black people in my team, and there was 4 before the other one left. Wait, no. Now it used to be 3. She left. That's 2 of us. 2 black, and we're both women. You think that HBCU would have prepared me for that environment? I don't know. It could have, because of the fact that I grew up in a predominantly white town, right? So, you know, that mix of back and forth could have. I think maybe someone who grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood then goes to HBCU might be more of a culture shock when they go into the real world, right? But, I mean, for someone like me, I don't think HBCU would have impacted me like that, because I grew up in a white neighborhood and I interacted with a lot of white people. You know, I did multiple sports, varsity, all that. And like I was a captain. So I knew how to deal with that, which would have, you know, translate into the corporate world. But I get what you're saying, like that environment for a lot of people, how does it help, you know?
Yeah, and maybe you just like it, enjoy it, and you don't plan on ever being around any other cultures. And this is not specific to a black or white issue. I'm saying like when you're in the public school systems or corporate, you deal with people from all types of cultures. It's not just black and white.
And a main thing too is you deal with people like when there's a language barrier, and that prepares you for the corporate world. Because you know how many times like a lot of people I work with, if you really wasn't around that, you would be like, huh. But like, I grew up around a lot of people that had accents and stuff, and like even school, we grew up. You have group projects with a lot of people, and not stereotypically, a lot of foreigners, immigrants, kids of immigrants do finance, accounting, economics, like they do those things, and then they do the sciences. So we dealt with, like, in class, a lot of people with accents. That prepares you for the real world, because you have people in the real world who you work with that have accents, and you have to understand, be able to understand them.
Yeah, I think you again, everything isn't one size fits all. Like, you can go to an HBCU and then come out and be fine and be able to deal with people. But in my personal opinion, I think that doing that more often than not, secluding yourself to just one environment, once you go out to the world, you're just not going to have the same type of skills. And to me, that like hinders you from maneuvering, like,
and knowing how to talk to certain people, knowing what to say to certain people, what to connect with them on. If you're so used to this, like, hey, what up, nigga? Like, if that's all your environment is, are you gonna be able to code switch like that when you get to the workplace and talk about the office or something with your white boss or
and also
golf?
That there's certain cultures, and I won't, say any specifically because I don't want people to think I'm racist or being biased, but there's certain cultures that, they speak a certain way that comes across as being like, they don't have, what's the word? They don't have, the proper social cues, and they say things that they don't feel like is rude or something like that.
Yeah.
But for us, I don't want to say, I guess maybe us traditional Americans, let's just say us black people, that if another black person said that to us, we'd be ready to fight.
Yeah.
Like, with the attitude and the tone and the cadence. So in my opinion, if you've only just been secluded to being in a black environment growing up, and then you go to an all black school, once you come out and you hear somebody from another ethnic group say something in a certain attitude or cadence, and you don't understand why,
then you're
ready to fight. And now it's impacting
now you're
your
going
social
to
skills.
HR and all that over nothing. It's like, it's just a cultural difference.
Yeah. So
yeah, and obviously, it's like, I love the ideas of HBCUs, and what they were rooted in, what they were founded in. Like, of course they were created for a reason, but it's like, I just think the best thing to do if you're gonna go to those schools is just to at least go to do internships or do other activities that are outside of the scope of your school environment.
do black people own the HBCUs?
I don't think so.
Gotcha.
And a lot of them, I don't even know. Like, I don't want to speak on this without knowing the history, but I'm pretty sure, like, if not most, or if not all, then most are named after white people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not interesting. Very, very common.
Very on
brand.
On brand, yes.
Who's BET owned by? Exactly.
A white woman, right? A white man, probably.
Yeah, white man. But
But yeah, I guess we do, like, kind of two separate topics: HBCU topic and Barani. But I feel like it all boils down to, I feel like both are important: your home environment and your school environment. Because, like, whether people want to believe it or not, your school environment does build who you are. A lot. Those are prime building days when you're young. Who you're around, who you're friends with, all that does build your personality and how you're gonna go out into this world. But a lot of it does start at home. A lot of it does. Make sure you have that culture in the house. But like we said, it doesn't always work, because my parents did it with all three of us, and all three of us came out differently.
I have a random thought about about this, because, like, why? I know why LeBron did it, but I know LeBron, he wants to be, and this is obviously no disrespect, shade, or anything, but he wants to be mogul man. So I know that he went to the Lakers. I'm sure he didn't really want to play for the Lakers, but I know he wanted to go out there to LA to, live out there. The film studios are out there, all that kind of stuff. Then, next thing you know, Space Jam 2 comes out. You see he's in all these commercials and stuff. And he was in commercials before, but you just see the transition of LeBron, trying to, expand his brand outside of just sports. Mm-hmm. But for me, I question why he sent Bronny to Sierra Canyon anyway. Because in my personal opinion, it doesn't matter what school you go to. Like,
yeah, because the thing is too, you ever hear the show All American?
Mm-hmm.
That was like the thing. Like there was the two differing schools. I think it was like the Beverly Hills High School, and then it was like something in like the hood. I don't want to say Compton. I'm not sure, but Beverly Hills is more south, toward like closer to LA, as compared to Calabasas and Hidden Hills, which is more north. So he could have easily went to an area school. Like, even if he went to Beverly Hills High School, it could have been a little different than Sierra Canyon, right? Maybe not though, because anybody going to Beverly Hills High School still lives in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
he kind of, because he would have had no other option. You either go to a private school, or you go to your local school, which would have been Beverly Hills High School.
Yeah, to a certain extent, especially having a crutch like LeBron being your dad, I don't really think it mattered where he went to school.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. The only reason I know that he went there, as far as I know, is the sports.
Yeah.
You should go to Donda. Is Donda a school, or is it just a sports academy?
I think it's a school.
Is it? You could have
might
a team.
not be, but
Maybe not though. But didn't they play against Sierra Canyon?
Yeah.
Kanye is so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me. Do what you want. I get people's issue because they feel like a stereotype and it's a stigma, especially among athletes and just successful Black men. And also people question the white woman and their motives. Because white women don't have a clean history in this country.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Black men. Lies and using and all that. Gold digging. So it just makes you wonder. What's her motive, right? Because she knows it's not like Bronny is ugly, like she could be attracted to him, but it's almost like, I mean, you come from money too. Clearly, if you go to Sierra Canyon, so it's not like you're being a gold digger. I'm sure her family's probably millionaires as well, right? Probably got money, but it's like people love that fame and they love that clout, and it's like you dating LeBron's son, you gonna be at games and all that,
Yeah, and that's the tough part. Especially with today's athletes, like LeBron was probably, and Kobe, I would probably say was the first one that I could at least remember personally. But those two together, they were 17 years old, 16 years old, in newspapers, on TV, because they were just so good at basketball, coming straight from high school to the league, which is crazy.
Yeah. It's really crazy.
Being Bronny, obviously being LeBron's son, you have grown men, following you, trying to watch your come up in high school and
pressure.
Sports and stuff like that, and then you have
it was even like Drake,
social media.
Drake was at his games cheering him on like a weirdo. Stay away from the kids, Drake.
And so there's so much public scrutiny, and you just have a ton of more eyes on you. So for somebody like that to try to find a romantic interest, it's always going to be it's going to
be hard.
It's going to be impossible. I think if you're famous, it's impossible to find. And if you believe in true love,
it is hard to find, because no matter what, you always question the motive. Unless it was a daughter of another basketball star.
Yeah, but even still, you can still have motive.
Like if it was, what's her name? Kobe's daughter. One of them. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, like, Kobe's daughters, if one of them were talking to him. I mean, the oldest one might be too old, and the one that died would have been too young at this point. Well, how old would she have been now? Like 15? Still too young.
Not sure.
I think she would have been like 15. It's crazy. But yeah, she might have still been too young enough for him. But like, think about it. Like, imagine the daughter that passed, if she was like 18, right? And she and him and Bronny went on a date or went to prom. Cause I don't know if his kids go to Sierra Canyon.
Let's use somebody else as an example. So let's say the daughter of somebody with like $100 billion, or somebody that's already famous, like, is trying to date Bronny. Like, it still can be a clout move. Like, even if you're more famous or more popular than someone else, you still can gain additional popularity from dating someone else. Like, you see, and I don't really want to bring up this example because, I don't care about either of these two people, but like Kim K and Pete Davidson, like, you can agree that Kim dating Pete still increased Kim's popularity.
Yeah, people know Pete.
Even though Kim Kardashian is one of the most famous people in the world, somebody that's less popular still made her more popular. So
because like Pete, like, why? Like, people were like, what the heck? Like, that's completely different than who she's been dating and married to.
So to me, even if you have two basketball families and they get married together. Like there's still it
You
can
know
still
the
be
clout is
motive.
going to be a lot. Yeah.
And you know, women do that thing. They want to date athletes for whatever reason, as if being an athlete is like a personality trait.
No, for real. Like,
So-
my man got to be an athlete. My man got to be a rapper. Okay.
Yeah. So
Like, it's for, but I know that the prime reason is three things. It's like money, obviously, because they know the money's good. Clout, because they know they're going to be right there in the booth or, you know, on the floor, and it's going to have the thing with the caption like, oh, what's the name's wife or what? So, you know, the clout. And then just the image, which I guess goes along with clout. The image of, like, I mean, I'm dating this superstar athlete and we're on the road and road life, like private jet life, going to the game.
they never be on the road, and they're never at the games either, which is the funny part.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to fly to Milwaukee. Like nobody wants to go to Milwaukee.
No, but they be at the Laker games. They be at the Heat games.
Yeah, all the cities that people actually want to go to. No disrespect to Milwaukee.
No, but that also
'cause
makes you. But I mean, no, but the true girlfriends and wives be there supporting. Like, what's the name was at the games? Jordan Woods. But yeah, that does suck though. Cause I know deep down all these people gotta question the motives of who's dating them, and who's pursuing them. Unless you're like Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Nah, but that's what I'm saying. It could still be.
I know,
motive.
because
It doesn't matter.
Jay-Z could deep down be like, did Beyonce only come for me because I was like the best rapper of all time at the moment? Like,
You never know.
I was in my prime when we met.
But you could say that really honestly about anything. Because you could say like,
I mean, no offense, but Jay-Z is not that attractive, so I'm sure that's real love. That gotta be real
that's a
love.
wild statement. Who keeps calling me?
Is this spam?
Nah. When where's my train of thought? Like, even if you're not famous, like you still do have to question people's motives and intents. Because like even if you're not popular, don't have a ton of money, there's still always motivation. Like,
Yeah.
so it's not just specific to them, but just
Just anybody.
anybody in general. But you know, whatever makes him happy, like
Yeah,
you
right.
said, who cares? I'm not ever paying attention to who's dating who, as long as
Yeah.
he's not,
Disrespecting
yeah,
black women.
disrespect. Yeah,
He doesn't say anything as far as I know, so let him do him.
and I hate to get in my all lives matter bag,
Oh my God.
but as long as he's not disrespecting anybody, I know we're talking specifically about black women, but
Any race.
yeah, he doesn't say. You didn't even say
He
anything.
disrespect white people though.
No, we're not doing that. He didn't even say anything. That's the crazy part. But
Did we even talk about that shooting in Buffalo?
no, we did not.
When did we record last week?
We recorded.
Oh, wow. We recorded after the fact.
Did we?
Yeah, because we got a notification about the shooting while we were at RH. Maybe we briefly talked about it.
No, we
didn't have a whole topic about
No,
it.
I don't think we talked about it at all. I don't think we referenced it.
I mean, we don't really got to get into it, but that's the only reason I made that comment. Obviously, I'm joking, but I'm not. But I'm not going to get political.
So you think all black people are like thugs and gangsters too?
No, I don't hate all white people. I know a lot of them are probably white supremacists. It's just in their blood.
A lot of them?
It's in their blood.
You said a lot of them?
I feel like it's a lot of them. I feel like a lot of them are quiet about it, and they'll never admit it out loud, and they're not crazy enough to kill. But I feel like
Do you feel
a good portion of them are supremacists.
do you feel that, and this is kind of like a separate question, not trying to counteract or say that they're justified in their thinking, but do you feel like we're the same way?
Like supremacists?
You can't really be can you be a black supremacist?
I feel like if you're a minority, you can't.
People
But I
say,
mean, you still can as a race.
people say that, right? So what is it? Hold up, let me look this up, because
What supremacist mean?
no, like no, I know what that means, but I'm saying let's look up the definition of being racist. We gotta look this up. Prejudice against or antagonistic toward a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized.
Exactly.
But
That's why a lot of people say every race can be prejudiced, but not every race can be racist, because racism involves a sense of power and history.
but this is typically,
Typically, yeah.
but atypically it could still be racist if somebody that's marginalized or minority is
And, like,
antagonistic towards somebody else, just based on this definition. Because I always question, like,
I just feel like racism involves a lot of power. I feel like prejudice, anybody can be prejudiced.
the reason why I'm asking this too is because, and this was an old clip, like I saw them talk about this a while ago, but there's, being white in the NBA is like kind of like an interesting thing because you're white amongst a lot of black people, and there's a lot of we speak a certain way about white people, and particularly in sports. So there was conversation with some of the white players, and they were talking about, their feelings about being on the court and being called like, bitch ass white boy.
Boo-hoo.
Okay. You didn't even,
I'm letting you go, but I'm just saying boo-hoo to them. Aw.
okay, but you don't even know what they were saying.
Keep going.
Okay, well don't jump in without
I'm sorry.
without me finishing.
All right.
So I'm just saying that they were discussing it. I'm not saying that they were crying about it, but they were just saying how they feel. And what they said is that they don't feel any way about it because it can't be racist because there's no power in the words that the black people are saying.
So they agree that racism is linked to power. Some of them, the ones who said that, agree.
Right. But to me, it's weird. Like, it's like a weird thing because I do agree that there's, like, let's say right now, right? You have those NBA players all on the court at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's a fair court. There's no racism in basketball. Like, you're all on the same court. You have the same goal to win the game. You shoot the ball. It gets in the basket. You both make points. It's not like anybody saying any words to you on the court, whether they're racist or not, is going to stop you from being able to play basketball, right? So to me, it's a level playing field. There's no power. There's no white people have more power on a basketball court than black people and vice versa. So to me, and this is me just wanting a genuine explanation. So in that circumstance, if you're on the court and a white person calls you a black boy.
Yeah, well, now we got to fight.
Right, but I know the history of it, but if this is saying that it's because somebody is using it as a power trip basically to hold you down or marginalize you, and there's no marginalization on the basketball court.
Yeah, but in general, in this country, there is and there was.
Right, but I don't disagree, but we're not talking about the country. I'm talking explicitly in basketball right now.
Yeah, but you can't separate basketball from the country when you're playing basketball in the country.
Okay.
No, like that's what I'm saying. Anybody can be prejudiced. You calling somebody a white boy is still wrong, even though that's a fact. You are a white boy, but saying it in an insulting way could be wrong because it's like, why bring up the skin tone? But it's not racist because there's no power behind it because we can't oppress them. So that word doesn't come into oppression. If someone says black boy, the word boy is triggering to black people because of the history in this country. And what that word meant, like boy was demeaning. It was used in slavery. It was used in Jim Crow. It's been used even to this day in some videos that surface. These white men be saying it, so it's derogatory and it's meaning to it because there's history to it in this country. So something could be wrong. Like I said, anybody could be prejudiced and say things wrong, but racist, no. Because like they were saying, like I agree, there has to be a sense that you're oppressing the person when you're using these terms against them.
So what's the difference between racist and prejudice if prejudice is in the definition of racist?
Because you could be prejudiced separate from being racist. Because racism comes with other factors. Prejudice is just one standalone term.
I think racist just means when you're specifically targeting an ethnic group or race. And prejudice, I think, encompasses all of that.
No, prejudice is when you have...
When you're prejudging someone.
Prejudging somebody based off their factors, their race and everything. Racism is when you're doing that, but on top of that, you're targeting marginalized groups.
That's what I just said.
No, but you flipped it. You're targeting marginalized groups with the goal of keeping them marginalized and oppressed and oppressing them. Prejudice is you're just judging somebody. It's not the same.
Do we think so? I just like to question definitions sometimes because I think there's just a lot of like unclear things in definitions because definitions kind of low key have to be broad in a way.
Yeah.
So I just wonder because like and this isn't me just genuinely asking questions. It's not like I don't understand. It's not like I'm dense and don't understand why somebody calling you a certain name or word doesn't have some sort of ill intent, whether it has power or not. But that's my question, is like, if you're, let's say I'm going to the grocery store and someone of another race, because I don't want to target anybody specifically, somebody of a different race bumps me and then says something like, "Watch where you're walking, boy." Is there any power in what they're saying? And is that marginalizing me in any way, or is it just the historical context that makes?
Is it all three? Because if it's a white person saying that to you, and even if it's someone of the race, it might not necessarily have the power to, but they know what they're doing. But if it's somebody white in particular, it is that the power comes from their white privilege. It comes from the history in this country of their privilege to demean you in that way, and for it to have a historical significance to
So-
what it to. Because they're doing that to hurt you.
So the definition of the power is psychological.
The power is more so the psychological the power and just the privilege, because it's like, as a white person, you're privileged enough to say that with enough confidence that you know what the impact is going to be to the person. Like, you know what you're doing when you're saying that. You want to hurt the person, or you feel that way. You want to demean them. You want to make them feel small, and they're already we're already a minority in this country, so it's to make us feel small and less than. And from their perspective, as being a majority in this country, that's power.
You know what's so crazy to me is like the stupidity of black people using the N-word and trying to say that, like, to reclaim the word.
Oh my God.
What's the oh my God?
Because I hate that argument. That is stupid. I don't think it's stupid.
I think it's kind of
I think it's actually funny.
I think it would make sense if, and the only reason I brought that up is like, I think it would make sense if you weren't still also then offended by it. Because then it doesn't make sense to me.
No, like,
'Cause-
I see what you mean. Because, it is kind of crazy.
Let me finish, because
Okay.
if the whole purpose of the word, right, was to, because basically, imagine how they think, right? The people that are racist, it's like they called you that word to the point where you're now calling yourself that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that perspective.
That's crazy.
But I also see it as, now it's our word and now you can't say it.
But it's not,
that's
and
funny.
they can still say it, and
No.
people get mad when you use it.
Yeah, but to go ahead and say it, and niggas are gonna find, yeah, look at me saying it. Go and find your address and your
you're not.
employer.
No, you don't.
Look, you seen Twitter, what they've done now. Like, all these white people and these Karens have gotten fired, suspended, all that stuff. Yeah, they will.
And they got another
They got in
job.
school,
They got another job somewhere else.
scholarships taken away, school applications denied.
They got another job somewhere else.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
All that's
But all it takes is a quick background
but-
check, and you don't want, for your diversity and inclusion, you don't want to hire somebody.
By
who's
the way, that's
racist.
also very performative.
It is. I don't
Anyway.
trust that these companies do it, but it's like, whatever. At least punish them. Obviously, I don't trust the intent, but they're only doing that to protect themselves. So let them protect themselves.
It's just interesting.
It
all.
is interesting. I get both arguments. I do, and like,
I'm not making an argument.
I'm saying I get like your perspective. I get mine.
That's not my perspective. I'm just pointing something out.
No, you just said, isn't it kind of dumb that we use that word? That's your perspective. That it's kind of dumb. That we kind of
Well,
use
it
it
is
as yeah. And my perspective is, it is a little dumb. Yeah,
No, it is
but-
100%.
But also, I think it's just funny because it's just an irony. And I mean, who knows though if our ancestors, how they would feel about us using it. Maybe we need to think about them. Because it is kind of giving coddling to the oppressor by using their oppressive term to the point where we, like you said, we use it against each other.
Yeah.
It was nice out.
And use it in a negative connotation.
Well, we use it in every connotation.
Yeah, which
We use it to talk down. Not really talk down, but we use
it to talk down on people.
We use it to uplift. We use it just to, it's just whatever context. It's not necessarily the word that we're using for that reason, but it's just whatever context is being used in. It could differ.
It's just interesting.
Like, I never use it in a mean way. I always say,
But
like,
you do, because when you refer to, because we want to get deep into it.
No, like
'cause
when I
you
be like,
refer
oh,
to
these
it,
niggas is going crazy.
yeah,
Like,
well,
no, in
yeah,
a good
but-
way. Like,
yeah, but when we do that diversification, differentiation is a better word. When you refer to a male, that's what you call them,
yeah, because you don't really do that for women.
right? So,
But women call each other bitches. I never was down
Right,
for
and
that.
that
I
was
never
the-
call my friends that.
and that's the
Never really liked when they call me
differentiation.
that.
But just because we do it doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, but then we need to stop calling women bitches too. Everybody.
I just said that.
Oh.
I just said that we differentiate.
I do
between
see
the
what
two.
you mean though, because like when we do use the word like, I mean, me and my family, like I call them niggas and niggers with an R, but that's just us being funny.
But is it funny?
It is funny. Like, we in the group
Okay.
chat being like, "Come on, Negroes, time to go, time to go."
I don't mean to put on my kufi, and get into my spiritual thing.
What words have power?
No, I'm just saying that if because I'm gonna hold us accountable. I don't care how coonish it comes across, but if we're gonna be those people that gives a word power, like you can't say that the word doesn't have power and we reclaimed it, but if somebody else uses it, then you get mad. So then it does have power.
No, you're right.
But then you use it as a way to demean your own people. So
Well,
it's
we
like,
don't use it always to demean. It's uplifting too, like. You know, you
Yeah, but
uplifting
you-
too, like
yeah,
kind
you
of like
can-
niggas in Paris, like we got niggas in Paris, like that's not demeaning.
it,
It's just saying like, yeah, we
but
in
it is,
Paris.
but it is though. He's like, yeah, we're in, but look what the word he chose though, because what, black people can't exist in Paris.
Well, you know, that was a double entendre on his part. It's like, yeah, he's saying it like how we say it, but he also saying it from the perspective of white people. Like, yeah, it's like, because you're saying black people, but remember, that's why it gets deeper to a conversation about who could say nigga.
And
because-
black people live in Paris.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It gets into deeper conversation who could say nigga because nobody in the whole world was called, like we were called that. Black Americans were called niggers. That word started here. So, you know, now it's a worldwide thing for all black people. But yeah, those black people in Paris, but were they called that?
They were called something different.
They were. That term came from the United States
They-
of America and it was
they were-
used against our people.
They were called like negro something.
I mean, it all started from the term black in Spanish. The Spaniards probably started it. And then obviously things get changed up here, whatever. But that's what, you know, it's a deeper conversation. So I think when Kanye's saying niggas in Paris, still about black Americans, like us former slaves, us dumb niggas, like you guys want to call us, yeah, we in Paris living it up. So double meaning, but it's also like, hey, niggas in Paris.
This is gonna be the tap dance episode. I'm gonna point out all
Oh my
the.
God. No, I agree. Like, I think it is kind of dumb. And like, we're the only race that does that. We're the only race that reclaims a word. So as far as I know, I don't think Chinese people are calling each other that
Yeah,
word.
Yeah.
C word. I don't think Spanish people calling each other the S word. I don't think they're doing that. Maybe. I don't know what their life is at home. Because, like, you know, the same way my family, we call each other that, like, to be funny, Negroes. That never happened to your family? Yeah, I know you. I feel like I heard your dad say it before.
It's not a matter of who said it or who doesn't say it. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out just a simple.
But we're not
a simple
demeaning each
fact.
other like when we were saying your family.
Okay.
No, but I get it. I
But
get it.
I'm saying more often than not, that's why people.
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Like you be like, oh, these be like blah blah blah, and they be cheating and blah blah. Like
Yeah.
everything is always in a negative context.
Yeah.
It is like that's why you're saying it, or like
But what about when people be like, "Oh, my niggas, my nigga,
Yeah,
my
you can-
nigga." Hey.
yeah, and you could use that in a positive sense, but like most of the time, 9 times out of 9.99, it's
negative.
for a negative thing. Like I hate these. It's like why don't you hate these men?
Yeah,
It's like
That's true.
You know, just a question, because it's the same thing. Like I don't know. I don't think words.
it's the same thing with like I said, the word bitch. Like girls use it as like a word of endearment, but a lot of girls are uncomfortable being called that by their friends. And like from a man's perspective, usually men don't use that term to be derogatory towards a woman. You know, isn't that the funny thing that women call each other that all the time? But if a man calls that,
But that's what I'm saying.
even
about
if you're saying it in a
if you're-
lighthearted way, it's you shouldn't say that.
just like if
Are we reclaiming the word?
that's what I'm saying. Just like when the black person can say it to you, but a white person can't say it to you. I know there's a lot more.
A white person can't say it
I know,
because their
yeah,
family member said it
I
to
know.
me, and we're killing our ancestors.
You're not from
and
here,
doing-
so don't even. We don't
I
even do that.
don't see. Look, you took one speck from my family tree, and
Alright.
now I'm not from here.
Alright.
My mom's family is from Mississippi, and my dad's family is from Georgia. Don't play with us. And my mom's family is also from South Carolina. So you took one little speck in my family tree about people that came here from France. Oh my God.
Go ahead. Say the national anthem.
First of all, look at you. It was my great grandma's family that came from France a long, long time ago, like in the 1500s. I don't even know. Okay.
Say the national anthem. Go ahead. Give me
I'm
your
not.
bag.
I'm not French.
You're French.
I'm not French.
Say oui oui.
I am a Black American,
Say oui oui.
and I have a lot of history here.
I'm not making fun of French people.
There's one
but you
family
are
line
French.
that came from France. That's one. My fifth great. What was it? My fifth great grandfather is from France. So
Is that why you went to Paris a couple years ago? He was visiting family.
Yeah, but whoever his family connected with were already in Savannah, Georgia. So,
Is that why you went and you was taking
and that's
pictures
where
of the
my
Eiffel?
dad's family came from, Atlanta, Savannah.
Where can I get some good brioche?
Don't play with me, Alex. See,
just-
now
I'm
you
just
try to
asking.
act, okay, but I'm not no immigrant.
Just
I'm
asking
not
a
no
question.
immigrant. Don't play with
Just
me.
asking a question. So I just want to know where the brioche is.
I am a Black American. I'm a foundation of Black American.
All right, this episode is horrible so far. What else do we got?
Actually, it's not
We had a-
horrible.
we had
I
a
love
one-
talking
1
about
hour
my
conversation
people. I love talking
about-
about my people.
about
I could talk
race.
about our people all day, every day, and my Black pride.
Let's talk about the cultural reset.
What cultural reset?
Let's talk about when we think the current climate is going to change.
What climate?
I'm gonna go stop the camera and then start it again.
Oh, because it's about to end.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we're gonna get into our bag. Don't touch
What we
that
gonna talk
dial.
about?
We'll be right back. And we are now back. Thank you guys for your patience. When do you when I brought up the cultural reset, it's because I was just thinking. I'm like, there's so much. There's so much like our culture, not our culture, but I feel like our Black culture is American culture in my opinion, at least entertainment wise.
Yeah.
So the way people look,
It's a huge part of it. Yeah.
the way people dress,
The way we talk.
talk, music, influence, all that kind of stuff.
Like even when we turn on E News and it's period.
I've never turned on E! News, and I definitely never heard that.
Okay, I don't know, but like they just very expressive with what they say, and it's very performative, acting like they're Black. The way we talk.
Right, and this is not a black or white thing because this has been the whole black and white episode. Is definitely what I'm calling this. But
The Oreo episode.
get out. But I just wonder when. I don't think that the music is going to change.
Yeah, no. Not for a while.
Not for a while. But at least in general, I guess in terms of like the stuff that we're into, like I think we're super delving deep into like the whole like luxury designer thing. I think that's getting
It's
increasingly
getting
worse.
crazy, yeah.
Like,
And this whole
especially-
soft life thing now.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a thing women are saying they want a soft, luxurious life. So everything's soft, and I'm getting paid vacations, and I'm buying my bag. Soft life. You know they always had to come up with some new term. It's so corny. But yeah, I let them rock. I'm like, I saw a tweet. They're like, "Don't soft life yourself into debt."
No, that's
Just
what.
got no homes, no savings, no 401k, but
That's it.
soft life, right?
It's 1,000% what everybody's doing.
Soft life, right? How much you got in your 401k? $0.00. Do you even have a 401k? Do you have an IRA? Do you have a 403b? No, you don't. Soft life. $20,000 in credit card debt because soft life.
I don't even think people could get $20,000 worth of credit.
They probably can't. That's actually a really good point. Because their credit scores are in the dumps.
Yeah.
I can though. Because
Anyway.
I'm not about.
Yeah, you are. But anyway, you don't even got to. Never mind.
I don't have a what? I don't have a what?
It's all right.
I don't have a what?
It's all right.
Wait, no, let's say it.
No, it's all right.
I don't have what? No,
But
say it.
what I was bringing up about the cultural reset,
I got receipts for everything.
I'm just interested in seeing when that shift is going to change, where we start to get away from like
Black culture.
not as American as a society, but I mean like in terms of specific things in the culture, like there's like a whole niche of like it's like very segmented things. So, and I'm trying to articulate this in the best way possible, but like let's take the BBL culture for example. Like that's like a subculture.
Yeah.
Like when do we think that's going to be done?
The BBL culture is already coming down to an.
We
It's already
think
dwindling.
that.
We
but
think that, but I feel like it's dwindling a little bit because girls are realizing how crazy it looks. First of all, a lot of women who are getting them reduced. People are dying. Like there's been a few cases recently, and it's just cyclical. Like the whole being skinny thing's gonna come back in. Like you see, the '90s and 2000s is already back in, and with that comes the body because like a lot of these fits don't look good on BBL bodies. That's why it's the whole BBL fashion. These low rise jeans and like just the 2000s look. Like you can't pull it off if your body don't look like Aaliyah. I'm sorry. Like how Aaliyah looked. Britney Spears was like this slim, skinny girl like look. And I feel like people like that look again because what the style is, the clothing wise. And that clothing style, like I said, does not look good on them. It just looks crazy. Like the low rise jeans look nasty when your hips are coming all the way out here. They don't look right.
You know what's trash about fashion, especially women's fashion, is that it's like dead. Like I feel like it's over.
I feel
Because-
like it's I feel like it's in a weird period, right? Yeah, because we just keep going back to old trends. We're relying on a lot of
Not
old stuff.
not even that. I just mean like the copying, like the fact that there's so many abundant resources now to get
Oh, certain look.
like dupes and stuff like that. I feel like it's
Even with these small brands, like this is a girl I really wanted to support, but her stuff is not in stock. And then literally an ad came up for this. The skirt looks just like hers. I'm like, that's sad.
yeah, and it's like damn, like
She charges like 100 something for hers, and the skirt was like 30.
where does fashion even go? Because you have so many different places like Fashion Nova and
This I'm
Shein
I'm
and
losing count. Like where I'm waiting for right now, Miss Lola, Princess Polly. This is from Kate Click. All these people, these random places I'm finding. Shein, Pretty Little Thing, Fashion Nova, Forever. Well, I don't know if people search out Forever 21, but there's so many sites. I'm getting like the one I just saw with the skirt was like called Finesse USA or something. I'm like, this is getting crazy. There's so many sites. Roove, like, what is going on?
the funny thing about all that is like when I was working with those Chinese manufacturers, I'm like, yeah, all y'all are like really
They're
trash.
all coming from China too. Like I ordered, like I said, from mad places that I'm like, oh, this is UK brand. I'm looking at my tracking number and it's saying CN. I'm like, that's China. It's
Yeah.
coming from China.
I'm like, yo, I bought that bodysuit when I was trying to sell those clothes. I'm like, I
Yeah.
bought that bodysuit for like $2 and y'all paying like
That's why
crazy.
AliExpress really is the spot. Like low key, you might take a while for your stuff to come, but if you run stuff for the cheap, for the low, that's literally the same exact thing that somebody's flipping and selling to you. Just go to AliExpress and get it, or get a vendor list.
yeah. I'm just bringing that up because it's like I mentioned it before. I was like back before the popularity of like things like makeup. And makeup has always been popular, but now I feel like you don't have a woman that does not have makeup
Yeah, in some
and
way.
mad different products,
In some way,
skin, all that kind of stuff. At some point, and it's like for me, I feel like looking back at old pictures of even like older celebrities and stuff like that, I feel like really, and maybe I'm just not familiar, but to me, it looks like they didn't use a ton of makeup, and like the max they would do is like lip gloss or stuff like that.
I mean, you're a guy, so you probably don't understand. But it definitely wasn't as much. They probably use like, maybe obviously a foundation, usually like probably a powder to set it, maybe a little bit of concealer, fill their brows, eyeliner, mascara. I don't think they didn't really wear falsies, but eyeliner and mascara.
I don't even know if they did all that.
Yeah, they did, babe. They did.
No, but
blush was
see
super popular.
You could see it, but I'm looking at specific pictures. I'm like, there's literally nothing here.
Yeah, but you think there's nothing.
No,
Guys
but I
think
know
that,
there's
like,
nothing. No,
I'm saying there's
hold up.
literally tinted moisturizer that have foundation in the moisturizer.
Hold up. Because I'm not dumb. Obviously, I could look at a human being and see whether that's natural or not.
There's
Like,
more now. I agree. But
I'm
it was
saying,
wearing a lot back then too.
right, but I'm looking at because what came across was I saw this like collection of pictures from models, and they don't let you wear makeup in your model shoots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, this shit kind of is like trash because like everybody looks exactly the same now.
Yeah, and that's why models are still a unique subgroup, though. They people, like you said, I don't know if you said this on camera, but the girl from Squid Games, even though it's rumored that she had a little surgery, like eyelid surgery, because a lot of them do get that surgery, but you see the praise that came with her and all the opportunities now because she has a unique look, and it looks like she wore minimal makeup on the movie. So it was, at the end of the day, the unique look is still gonna win. Like I think we had a conversation off camera. Like these girls do all this, but there's a peak. At the end of the day, that natural look and that real beauty is gonna win. At the end of the day, so it's like these trends. Yeah, it could be annoying and weird and like whatever, but at the end of the day, people still know the value of a fresh face. That's why, like you said, models, when you go to those callings, whatever, when you submit your portfolio, has to be bare face. They want to see you, So.
Yeah, and they look. I know women don't do anything for men. I know.
I know your opinion on makeup,
but it's just interesting.
As long as you're not dependent on it, that's really when it gets scary.
And it's not even that I care necessarily, because I think that sometimes even when I speak, me speaking about something makes it sound like I care. I really genuinely don't care about makeup, women's fashion, any of that kind of stuff. Like I really genuinely don't care. I just like to point out certain things and highlight certain stuff because I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. Like Rihanna being a billionaire off of selling skincare is interesting.
And makeup.
Like, and when you have like all those, when we go into Sephora at any point, I'm like, really look at all these different products that are in here. It's just interesting. Or like the difference between how many products when you walk in a Stop and Shop, how many are tailored to men versus women. It's just, it's just very interesting. But I just wonder at what point, because at the end of the day, all of what I'm saying is basically, I wonder when, as a culture, there's going to be less consuming of things, right? Like less consuming of
I don't think there will ever
luxury,
be.
designer,
I don't think there'll ever be.
Thinking you need to buy 95 different skincare things to make your skin look better.
I don't think there'll ever be. The only time that would happen is there was some major economic crash, and people will literally start going crazy and probably kill each other, and it'll be a mess. But look at the history, because consumerism has been high for centuries. Even if you go back into like the BC days, they was getting, the rich people had the gold and stuff. Regular people, yeah, they wasn't doing that because it wasn't credit cards back then. That's what I'm saying. It's only going to get worse because people have credit cards, people are doing scams, PPP loans. It's only going to get worse. And social media is making it worse because people feel the need to keep up with people that they can't keep up with.
Now, question for you.
Keep up with people who are probably faking it themselves.
Question for you. Mm-hmm. And this is not to make it a men versus women thing. Mm-hmm. But this is just for the sake of the conversation. Who do you think is worse at that? Well, actually, I don't even know if I need to ask that. We kind of talked
about this before.
Women pay for.
I think I was confused at first, but then I was like, we ended up concluding that was women.
Yeah, and the numbers, because I forgot about the 85% number. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that are listening, 85% of money spent in the country is spent by women. What do you think for men is because
the biggest spending?
Yeah, I know cars is one thing, but
it's not like cars you're buying frequently.
Every day, right? I wonder.
Gaming.
Okay.
Gaming. Shoes, sneakers.
Okay.
Jewelry.
Yeah, what I'm trying to ask is, what's the thing that men clown other men about? Because I don't get clowned.
Hair. Your hair, your cut. So men pay to get their hair done consistently usually.
Okay, so barbers, so it's
barbers,
like $20.
Which is not a lot, but that's one thing men clown. Shoes. They clown other men for the shoes.
Gotta get Jordans, okay.
And jewelry.
Do you get clowned for not having jewelry?
You don't get clowned for not having it. You get clowned if you're wearing
some fake jewelry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really it. Men don't really get clowned a lot. The fits, yeah, sometimes. But there's only so much fit. Like, there's only so many fits you could do. Like, you either super fly and you get clowned if you're trying too hard, or you just wearing a hoodie and jeans. It's like there's not so much you get clowned for fit wise, but shoes for sure and hair.
Yeah, because I think women get clowned for less.
No, we get clowned for more.
I mean, like, what I mean by that is exactly what you're saying. I think women get clowned for like the most minor thing.
Everything.
Yeah. Our
face, your makeup, your makeup's not blended, your hair, your wig's lifting, your natural hair looks crazy. I saw a tweet too that said that all the insults that this girl got, she said she's petite and not really curvy. She said all the insults she ever got on her body were from other women. And I had to think about it. I'm like, wow. Same. When I really think about it, I don't think any man has ever said anything about me being skinny. All my insults have been from other women.
Why y'all do that?
Oh, you're skinny. Oh, you're a stick. Oh my God. You look like this. You look like that. Like, even that whole joke from college, the whole hockey stick, we know who that started from. And like, obviously men joined in on the joke but who did it start from? Oh, another woman, So it's like, it's just like, what the heck? COVID alert.
I know that it's about competition.
It's competition. And women don't want to admit it. It's who, because they think men want curves. So they're going to try to knock you down as a woman to feel better about themselves.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it competition or is it just insecurity?
It could be insecurity. Because why is my weight bothering you? Like, why is that something you feel the need to point out? I know I'm skinny. I look in the mirror every day. I probably look in the mirror more than you do because I love myself. So you don't gotta tell me I'm skinny. I see it. I know. But like I was saying, it hasn't affected me at all when it comes to dating. Literally, I met you like the second week.
So you be out here is what you're saying?
I don't be out here, but I get a lot of like compliments. Obviously they slow down once people realize we're in a serious relationship. But all throughout college, no, I'm talking about my college.
You was outside, right?
I'm talking about my college experience. I came to school all of a sudden.
Joining the jokes.
All these people want to talk to me, but I'm like, I thought I was skinny though. Why are we at the club and all you guys are like more curvy? But why is the guy coming up to me and I'm wearing Raf Simons? Why is the Eagles player coming up to me while I'm wearing Raf Simons and baggy pants? But I'm skinny though. Right?
So you was outside is what you're saying?
No, it's just funny that.
Come on, you gotta say
I wasn't outside. I'm just saying that it never affected me. The men.
You gotta join the joke.
I made a tweet. I'm like, the men love skinny women. They do.
Just say you were outside. You was outside, right?
Okay.
Were you outdoors?
I was never outside. I met you the second week of school. Please stop. I'm not blaming you.
So you were outdoors.
Okay. Oh yes, I was outdoors.
All right. Thank you. That's all we're trying to get to.
My whole point is women, and we're the reason for that consumerism.
That's what
it's
I'm
all
saying.
linked to other women clowning each other and their insecurities. So now you feel the need to get this surgery, this skincare to make your skin clear, this, and it all links to the attention for men too. It's a combination of both. Because if my skin's clear, my butt's big, and my waist snatched, I'm gonna get all the men. And my hair looks good, I'll get approval from other women, and men will also like it. It's linked to consumerism is linked to insecurity.
When y'all gonna stop that? Y'all hold the key. Because
I'm very confident in myself, and I have you. I just love to get like dressed up, and I think I'm a subculture of that. I think a lot of women are like me also, but a lot of them are also insecure, and they do get to fulfill insecurities. Because if you don't have that same confidence without your makeup, without the wig, then your confidence is linked to your clothes and makeup.
I'm just getting bored. That's basically it.
I'm getting bored too.
I'm tired.
Everybody looks the same.
Everybody looks the same.
Dressed the same. I'm getting bored too. That's why I try to be outside the box. Like, is this a unique outfit? I don't know. Maybe not, but I feel like it is.
It's the availability of information, and this is me coming from. I don't be dressing up. I don't do that no more. I just wear my vintage rare archive collections, and that's all I wear, and just be chilling. So I'm not coming from that place that I used to be, where I used to try to, I need to have this exclusive one of one shoe that came. Like, I don't really care, but it's just interesting because I'm getting bored at this point. Like, the reason why I brought up the women's thing specifically is because, like, I don't want to look at men. I'm not that there's anything wrong with that, but I like looking at women more. Like, I don't like.
I'm kidding.
I just don't want to look at men.
No, I know what you mean.
So if I'm looking
you're
at,
just observing like what's going on.
Yeah. So when I'm observing what's going on, I don't want to see the same. I don't want to see.
You can't even tell who's who sometimes. You're like, remember that picture came on the screen that day. You're like, who are these people? And they all look the same.
I'm like, who is that? It's like somebody 3D printed all these people.
And I don't get it. I don't get why they all look the same. It's
well, you
weird.
know why? You know why? Because it's.
Well, that girl explained in that video. It's because it's literally the key to the money and the clout.
But it's also safe in a way because you know that, like,
you suck in real life. You have no talent, so you use your looks to make money.
Sure, there's that. But I mean, it's just safe in the sense that, like,
I'm so mean.
It works. It's like the hack. It's like, you're gonna be.
If I get the big butt and look like this, I'm in.
Yeah.
My OnlyFans is gonna go up.
Or
even a rapper is gonna fly me out.
Yeah. Or even if you're not doing that, like, even if you're just doing that to sell bikinis on Instagram.
But that's why we gotta hold the men accountable too, because the men stop giving so much attention to that stuff, then maybe it wouldn't be such a pandemic.
I disagree though, because men give everything attention.
No, but the men with money, well, yeah, they do. Because Selena Powell was a pass around, and she's skinnier than me, and she had no butt.
Yeah.
And she's a pass around.
So men give anything attention. Women are the ones that really control all of this stuff. Like I said, like, y'all spend the most money.
Yeah.
Y'all are the one that controls the birthing process and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, everything begins and ends with y'all. So it's really up to you guys. Like, if women just wanted to be skinny, then men would just like skinny women. If women just became thick, like, all the women just became thick all of a sudden.
And that's the thing. Like, there's always been a variety of shapes and sizes. Everybody should love who they are. You only should get surgery to fix something that's like not even cosmetic. That's more so like affecting your day to day. Like, if you can't breathe and you need a nose job, then okay. But other than that, there's really no need for cosmetic surgery. Just like love who you are.
I feel like I'm in a Black Mirror episode sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like, I don't know when the shift's gonna happen. I think it's going to happen. I feel like people are gonna wake up soon.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Cause, like,
it seems like it's only getting worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. It's like you have the next generation of kids that are now, like, growing up on, surgery culture. And you know what? There is something wrong with it. I was about to say there's nothing wrong with it. There is something wrong with it. Like, because for me, it's like, if you're getting surgery for something to help you because you're like you have like an ailment, then that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
plastic surgery, even, like, that makes sense. Reductions, that can make sense. But if you're just doing it for the way something looks, to me, that's like so crazy to me. Like, I really can't. And it's like, now you got these like 12-year-old kids now growing up, and that's all they know.
That's like, I'm about to aspire to.
We know life without that. Like, without normal women going to get surgery and stuff like that. Like, before, it used to be only reserved for famous women, but now everybody, so and so on your block is going to be able to do it too.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're getting the money from. They're paying $300 for some random in
DR.
Yeah, which is crazy, but
yeah.
Hopefully everything resets soon, because I'm getting bored and
same.
like, everything it's off-putting. Yeah. It's like, when I was younger, it's like I told you, the more I make money, like, the less I like this stuff. It's like, before it was like aspirational to like the houses and the clothes and all that kind of stuff, but now it's like the way people do it is just makes it like not special to me anymore.
Yeah.
When anybody could get a credit card and everybody can go get $1,000 Louis bag, and then you see the Louis bag everywhere. It's not.
Yeah, that's not, the appeal is gone.
The appeal is like completely out of here. So I just wonder when it's all going to be reset, but it's not looking like
Not
anytime soon. Because every 2 weeks there's going to be a new bag that's like, okay, we on this now, and now we're going to do this, and then everybody's going to buy that, and then we're all going to look the same. And then it's the Balenciaga Crocs 1 week, and then there's going to be a new Bottega bag, and then the Birkin bag. It's just going to be always something different. But it'll be interesting to see if it ever changes.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be for a while.
If ever.
If ever.
It'll just be something
else. It'll just evolve
else,
something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. So
yeah, we did have a short pod today.
Thank you guys for watching and listening. If you got to this point, we appreciate you for tuning in as always. Yeah. I'm Alex G. This has been Mal Waves. This has been A Couple of Things podcast where we talked about a couple of things, and we are out of here.